The goat responds in a human voice and offers her the life she desires. He says, "Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?"
Deliciously. And I was
I'm
like,
like, "What?"
dude, what is happening?
Right, right,
Like
yeah,
it is so bizarre. And then
right.
and then it almost turns into a man.
Hello, friends. I'm Anderson Marchak,
And I'm Ricardo Segura.
and we are the Panel Bros. Welcome to the panel.
Welcome to the panel. Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Oh yeah.
This is episode 96. We're going to get to the title pretty soon, but
Mhm.
we are slowly inching towards our 100th episode. So, folks, just stay tuned for that. We're going to let you know what we plan on doing leading up to that, but
Mhm.
it's coming. So, as of right now, it's May of 2026 as of this recording. We're not going to name drop, but there's a lot of really cool horror movies
Oh yeah.
coming out right now. Between Ricardo and I, we've gone to the theater to see a
Yep.
lot of horror movies. Um, I can't speak for Ricardo, but for me, it's way more than usual for me, to
Yeah.
the point that I've seen more horror movies than mainstream movies
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So we're just feeling inspired about horror right now, and we got to thinking, like, how are we going to close out our first 100 podcasts? We only have 4 episodes left, and we
Mhm.
haven't done a filmography in a while. So I thought about it, and I said, we only need 4 movies. Let's go for Robert Eggers. So
Bro, I was so I was so hyped when we were discussing
yeah,
it, and you were like, "Oh, let's look for this. We can tackle 4 movies." And I was like, "Oh, great. What's out there?" And you said Robert Eggers, and I was like, "Say less. That's what we're doing."
yeah,
Like, I'm huge fan of that guy.
yeah. It's pretty cool. So let's just get started, and we'll get to gush, about this amazing director.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, our first one here, as we stated, was directed by Robert Eggers. It was released February 19th of 2016. Today, the Panel Bros are going to do a breakdown for The Witch.
The Witch. Brother, when the advertisement for this movie first came out, this was one of those movies that I was like, "Ooh, that scares me." It was just there's such an eerie feeling surrounding this movie, even with the marketing and something as simple as just calling it The Witch, and I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna get into like dark magic and things of that nature." And I remember just being like, "That might be like." I didn't catch this in the theater. Like I didn't catch this in the theater. This was one that I missed out on, and I was just like, maybe a little too scary for me. I don't know. But I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad we both watched it, and I'm glad we're going to discuss it today because, as I mentioned, big fan of Robert Eggers, and I really, really enjoy this one.
Yeah, I went to the theater to see it.
Yeah, I was too scared. I didn't do it.
Yeah, I went with a small group, just some horror lovers, and
Mm.
the trailers were really eerie, and people were just raving about it. So we'll talk about that because it was a very different experience versus the
Oh yeah,
trailers when I went to
yeah,
see the movie in itself. But um, we'll talk about just what Robert Eggers continued to do after this movie, and I don't know. I feel like horror kind of changed after this movie came out. What could
yeah.
be
Oh yeah.
considered horror and what is not.
Well, one could say that considering what the and again we'll talk about it as we do this movie.
Yeah.
This isn't your typical jump scare horror
Right.
movie things of that nature. Like there's a nice slow burn to it, and slow burns can make or break. Sometimes a slow burn just feels too sluggish or whatever, but this is one of those movies where like there's a slow burn, but there's such a and we'll talk about it, like there's such a significant payoff at the ending
Right.
that you're kind of like, ooh, like we took our time getting here, but what a reveal and what a moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. So here we go with our plot summary here. We have an opening scene, and it's a trial for a man and his family. They're all dressed here. They look like pilgrims almost,
Yeah.
just this. It's so clearly it's a period piece.
Yep.
And we have no idea what this is about, but we find out that they are banished from
Yeah.
the village. So immediately you hear the Old English. I hear a lot of people say it sounds like they're talking out of the King James Bible.
L-
Wouldst thou thee thine?
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. I'm not ashamed to say that I put subtitles on the first time I watched this
Nope.
because because of the old language and because William's accent is very strong. So like there were times where I'm like, oh, I need to put some subtitles on to really hear what's happening.
Yeah. So it is the 1630s New England. So we're in the States at this point. And English settler William and his family, his wife Katherine, teenage daughter Thomasin, uh, played by Anya Taylor-Joy in this breakout role for her.
Oh yeah.
We have preteen son Caleb and young fraternal twins Mercy and Jonas. They're banished from a Puritan settlement over a religious dispute, so they're Puritans. We find that
Yep.
out too. When they find their new place, they pray, and then for the first of many times, you see them in front of, they're in the foreground, and you see the scenery, and all of a sudden you just start hearing this eerie music before the title card.
Oh yeah, it
So
was uncomfortable. I wonder. Okay, so you saw this in the theater. I watched
yeah,
this. I watched this with headphones, and like it was very loud,
it
like the
was.
score, and it was really loud. And I'm like, oh man, this in the theater would have made me really uncomfortable.
So this part, and then throughout the entire movie, it's you're waiting for a jump scare that doesn't
Mhm.
happen
Yeah, it just
because
nope.
it's just this eerie feeling, and then the swelling of the
Mhm.
music. Um, so that's as far as that goes. Yeah. All right, we got our first share here. And I had to be careful because some of these images are kind of disturbing here, with what
Oh
it
yeah.
does. So, all right, so we got a pleasant one here. It's Anya Taylor Joy. She's praying. So,
Okay.
so I want to focus on this. This it's a monologue where she prays because it kind of sets the tone for the
Yeah.
entire movie. It's a religious movie.
Mhm.
It's a horror movie
Oh yeah.
based in Christianity. It's funny. Our last breakdown was the Passion of the Christ. We go from
Passion
the
of the
Passion of
Christ
the
and
Christ to this.
to the witch.
Yeah. So Thomasin prays. Oh, excuse me. Oh, most merciful Father, I here confess that I have lived in sin.
Mhm.
I have been idle of my work, disobedient of mine parents, neglectful of my prayer. I have in secret played upon thy Sabbath and broken every one of thy commandments in thought. Followed the desires of my own will and not the Holy Spirit. So she's repenting for everything. She's just
Yeah.
going down the super strict.
Yeah.
I know I deserve all shame and misery in this life and everlasting hellfire. She's talking about damnation.
Yeah, like they're
Right. If
legit.
if
Like
I don't repent, I'm
I'll go to
going to
hell.
yes,
Yeah.
going to the bad place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I beg thee, for the sake of thy Son, Jesus, forgive me. Show me mercy. Show me thy light. I thank thee that thou hast defended me this night and brought me safe unto this day. These and all other graces I beg at thy hands in that prayer which Christ himself hath taught me. And then she finishes with the Lord's Prayer.
Mhm.
And we flash back and forth with the family just getting settled in. And um, this is a great monologue.
Oh yeah. Dude, there's monologues in this movie where
Yeah.
they are bringing it, and this is a good one.
Yeah. So a very young Anya Taylor-Joy in a
Mhm.
breakout role. What a way to start the movie. And it just goes to show you how strict these people are because
Yeah.
this isn't just the movie, this is the time.
Oh yeah.
Puritans were very strict in their faith and very if we don't do this, we will receive damnation as we should because
Yeah. Yeah, like
that is what we deserve.
just fully like, yep, this is bestowed upon me. Like we're all born into sin, and if we don't do
Correct.
this in our lives, we're going. And that's a theme throughout the movie. And we'll get to scenes where they fully explain the context of why they feel this way. And it's just
Right.
yeah, it's 100% like they just go, yep, this is what's gonna happen to us, and we're deserving of it.
Right. The one line that got me was so she's like a teenager,
Yeah.
but I've played on the Sabbath. She's repenting for playing on the Sabbath,
Yeah. Like
and I have broken every one of your commandments in thought. So there's so the scripture.
Mhm.
Ricardo. There's a scripture that says that if you hate somebody, it's like killing them
Yeah.
in your heart,
Yeah.
So, in a way, it's almost like she took that scripture and ran with it, that like I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
actually physically break a commandment, but I have thought about it. So
Yep.
that's just as bad as doing it,
Yep.
So
That's how strict they are. Just the
yeah.
mere thought of it, it was like, "Oh, I have done this, and yeah, I've thought about it, and that's bad enough." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So she's just, "Please forgive me, Lord. I do not want to be in the hellfire. I'm
Yeah.
repenting," So, um, they needed to show how devout, there's the word, that
Yeah.
Thomasin is because of the journey she goes on in
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie. So, alrighty. So we got another one here. I'm getting these pleasant faces of Anya Taylor-Joy before things go a little south. So
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say that before things go
yeah,
south.
exactly.
Here, look.
So this is our first almost unsettling moment.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
playing Peekaboo.
Yeah.
So um, they build a farm near a large secluded forest, and Catherine bears her fifth child, Samuel.
Mhm.
While under Thomasin's care, Samuel abruptly disappears. It is revealed that a witch has stolen and killed Samuel, the baby,
Yeah.
to use his body to make a flying ointment. Now, this is in the plot summary,
Yeah.
but it's not explained. But as you watch the movie, you'll see.
Yeah.
So this is where the dread starts. I have the notes here. If it didn't before with the eerie music, there is something about this scene with her and playing peekaboo with the movie that will get you,
Yep.
because she's covering her face and then she's saying boo, and you're waiting for a jump scare.
Yeah.
And then on the last peekaboo, the baby's gone.
And it's just
Um, no explanation.
don't
None.
even like that. Nope, nope. It's just the mere again, like you said, you're waiting for a jump scare because in any other movie, doing this, like a
Right.
door opening, a door closing, you're waiting for it, right? And he's building this moment, and the baby's just gone, and you're kind of like, how? And she looks up into the forest, and you see a movement of the brush,
Right.
and it's just like, oh no! And then everything happens that you explained through the plot summary, and obviously, thank God, we don't see anything, but you see enough,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, like when like it's not explained what's happening verbally, but all through visuals.
Right.
And it gets a little uncomfortable at a point, and like I'm like, wait, don't go too far, and it doesn't. But then you get to see the after results of what's happening, and it's extremely uncomfortable.
Right. So this is what Eggers does. He'll show you just enough to make you
Hmm.
have the idea of what is happening, and then he cuts away the minute you
Yeah.
start seeing too much. Um, so nightfall hits. This is how they show what happened.
Hmm.
Nightfall hits, and you see a nude woman performing some type of ritual with the baby. They don't know. We don't know what she's doing. She's
Hmm.
just performing something. And then you see her rubbing stuff all over herself. And then you're thinking, is that the baby's blood? What is
Mm.
she doing? What's happening
Mm.
here? And then you see her like levitating almost, and then it just cuts. What was that? What did we just see?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's so uncomfortable, and he also uses sound design because it almost sounds like she's churning butter at a point, like that very like there's churning
Yeah.
of a butter, and I'm like, what is that? Please God, don't let that be what I think it is. You know what
Right.
I mean? But he's that you're not getting anything other than that, and then like you said, you see her rubbing it on her skin, and then before you know it, like you said, she begins to levitate, and it's a great shot. Like, don't get me
It
wrong,
is.
the shot of the moon, and you see the trees and her kind of levitating through the forest, like from a cinematic perspective, the shot is a beautiful shot, but what we've just seen is horrific in nature.
Right. Devastated by the loss, Catherine spends her days crying and praying. Insisting a wolf took the child, William takes Caleb hunting in the woods to find and kill it. When
Mhm.
Caleb wonders if the unbaptized Samuel went to heaven, so we're back again with the faith.
Yep, we're back at this theme.
Even though my brother was a baby, is he still going to make it to heaven, Dad? So
Yeah.
in response, William discloses that he secretly traded Catherine's prize silver cup for hunting supplies so they could go. So let's break this scene down here. Caleb is worried, not that if Samuel died, but if Samuel is in heaven,
Yeah,
and
dude.
terrified of the thought of his brother in hell, and that also if he died, would he go there too?
Mm-hmm.
And William is explaining their faith to them, very extreme, clearly. We're
Yeah.
all born into sin, Caleb. This is
Yep.
why we must repent. And just when you think that they're about to shoot the hare, the gun explodes in William's face. So we
Yeah.
kind of get like a semi jump scare here, So
Yeah. It's the scene. The scene is it's very sad because obviously this is what they're taught. This is their belief system, and it's the Puritan. It's very strict, and the idea that Caleb truly believes that there is a strong possibility that his baby brother is burning in hell. And he's just like, Dad, if he did not have time on this earth enough to repent, to do what he needed to be done, how is he not in hell? He can only be in hell. And you have William, telling him like, hey, watch it, and go back and forth. He goes, listen, I don't know. He goes, no man here knows. The only one that knows is God. Those, paraphrasing. And it's just this really tragic feeling. And then Caleb, like you said, brings up the notion of like, well, what about me? Like if I were to die today, that means I would go to hell. And again, it's due to this extreme nature of it all, when in itself can be almost horror-esque, because that's terrifying for a child to conceive a thought like that, and be worried about where Samuel's soul is. And it's almost as if William doesn't even necessarily want to discuss it, because again, it is something really horrible to think about. But this is a really important scene, as you mentioned. Like we get to see it with Thomasin's character, and now we're seeing with Caleb, like the strictness and like this idea of like, hey, like this is what will happen to us if we don't serve God.
Yeah. So at the farm, we see the twins playing with the family's billy goat named Black Phillip, who they both say talks to them. That's weird. And the goat looks agitated, on top of the fact that it's scary looking. So
it is. It is.
Yeah. On top, it's got these horns and just a symbolism of the occult over the years.
Yeah. Dude, it made me afraid of goats for years when I was growing up, because I'm like, it's always attached to the occult. Like I was just always scared of it. So like, even seeing Black Phillip in here, even as an adult, like it's just a goat. But in my head, I'm just like, I don't know about Black Phillip.
So, Eggers knew what he was doing and creating this character surrounding this goat. So, William comes. He chases the goat away because it looks like it's getting agitated by the twins, who are doing a great job agitating.
Oh yeah.
The goat and everybody around them. So we get to the river. Thomasin was told to go and wash her father's clothes because he got blood on it from the the gun blast. And this is the second time we see it. It happened before while the family was sleeping. We catch Caleb looking at his sister in a weird way.
Oh yeah.
So, and then that's never explained. It's just
they never touch on it. It happened twice.
Yeah.
And it's clearly a boy growing and having probably impure thoughts because of his sister's her change, her maturity, and him noticing it. And again, never addressed again. And there's a particular scene, maybe it comes back in, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. So Mercy, the girl twin, starts talking about the Witch of the Wood, and to scare her, Thomasin says she is the Witch of the Wood. I'm the one that took Samuel away, and then I'll take you and I'll eat you like I ate him.
Yep. I was like, Thomasin, what are you doing?
Right.
Like,
Caleb's like sitting back like, that's not funny. And we're like sitting here like, I hope she's joking. Hold up. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Even joking, considering how strict everyone is and how she legitimately just prayed not that long ago in the film of like, you know what? I've had these thoughts. The idea of joking about something as significant as that, I was like, Thomasin, what are you doing?
Right.
Like what? And obviously as a first time viewer, you're like, I hope you're joking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you joking? And then like you said, Caleb is telling Mercy, don't listen. She is telling fantasies and and I'm just like, Thomasin, please, for the love of God, stop saying what you're saying.
Right. Because if the witch is real and she hears you, that's not good.
That's not good. I was worried about what the kids would say to the parents. Like I was like, oh, like everything was. I was just like, Thomasin, please stop. Like you're taunting something you shouldn't taunt.
So Katherine blames Thomasin for misplacing her silver cup. William
Mhm.
traded it. He didn't tell anybody
Yep.
yet. He only
Yep.
told Caleb. So the mom holds Thomasin responsible for the loss of Samuel because she was with him at the time. So that night, the children overhear their parents arguing about their possible starvation because they haven't been able to catch anything.
Yeah.
And they're making plans to return to the settlement before sending Thomasin away to serve another family to make some money so they
Yep.
don't starve, you know?
Yeah.
Um, the next morning, Thomasin and Caleb sneak into the forest to check a trap. Their dog Fowler chases a hare with Caleb in pursuit. The hare frightens their horse, which throws Thomasin to the
Yeah.
ground and knocks her unconscious, so she's out.
Yep.
Caleb becomes lost and discovers Fowler's disemboweled body. So another just disturbing imagery here. You know,
Yep.
by the way, I didn't mention it earlier. Thomasin had grabbed an egg from the chicken coop and
Oh
she
yeah.
dropped it, but then she saw the embryo
Yeah.
of a baby chick. So once again, just real quick flash, and now we do it with
Yeah.
the dog here. You know, just
Mm.
I don't want to see that. You know,
Yeah.
so
It's things you don't want to see. It just makes you. It just makes you feel very uncomfortable.
right. Um, so just once again, eerie music. Their intentions are good. They're doing this to help feed the family, but you're
Mhm.
just feeling that sense of dread again. Is something going to happen to Caleb next? And then we have this imagery of the dog while they were hunting. Delving further into the thicket, he discovers a place from where the witch, disguised as a seductive young woman, emerges and kisses him.
Yeah.
Um, we find out a little bit more here now. Now we know the witch is real. Because
Yeah.
before it was like, you know, is this what is happening here? You know,
Yep.
is she trying to get Caleb next? And then after she kisses him, you see an old gnarled hand come up, and
Yeah.
then Eggers does it again. He cuts
And
it.
that's it, and it cuts.
Yeah,
Now, this was the scene I was referring to where I was like, maybe they kind of touch on it because the witch presented herself in a certain way and look that
right,
probably appealed to Caleb to lower his guard, because we do see Caleb looking at Thomasin in a way that almost shows like he's acknowledging her physical change as
right.
well. And now the witch has disguised herself as a young temptress. And I was like, maybe that was their tie-in for that. Again, there's no explanation. It's just, hey, like that's how she draws him in. But yeah, when you see that old nasty hand come through and grabs the back of his head for the kid and it just cuts there, you're kind of like,
Well,
okay.
he's a preteen, and in a way, it's like this is a sin. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
find a way to exploit your sin.
Yep.
You know, um, so that's what happens there. Thomasin awakens and finds her way home by following William's voice. As Katherine rates Thomasin for taking Caleb into the woods, William defends Thomasin by reluctantly admitting that he sold the cup and he had first taken Caleb to the woods. So
Mhm.
he's been defending Thomasin this whole time because the
Yeah.
mom just keeps blaming her because let's be honest, she lost the baby,
Yeah,
you know?
she lost the baby, now Caleb's gone, and
Right,
she just like, "You," and he's like, "No, like, I took him out the first time, I sold this." Like, yeah, he's trying to protect her.
right. So they're just stuck now. Like, did we just lose another kid? Right.
Yeah.
So here we go with another screen share here. Just moving along. The family's all together here.
Oh, yeah.
So that night, Caleb returns to the farm naked. Not good, right? He's delirious and he's mysteriously ill. Katherine suggests that Caleb has fallen victim to witchcraft. Here we go.
Mhm.
And prays for him. So the next day, Caleb goes into violent convulsions and vomits a whole apple before passionately proclaiming his love for Christ
Yeah.
and dying peacefully. So let's unpack this here.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where the movie gets even worse for our characters.
Yeah.
First, baby Samuel dies um, due to Thomasin's fault. You
Mhm.
know, whatever sin you want to call it. Um, you know, she was thinking she wasn't thinking when she was out there, but she was just, it was an innocent thing. But in a
Yeah.
way, this movie is kind of trying, there's like a theme. We will punish you for your sins, you know, whatever
Yeah.
your
I was
sin
like
is, you know?
I was like, were they playing on the Sabbath? What was going on? Like what's
Right,
happening to
right.
you?
Exactly. Um, so now we have Caleb, and you know, so now he dies, but both once you encounter the witch, you're dead.
Yeah.
So I have some questions. You know, why is this witch doing this? What is her motivation? You know,
Mhm.
the twins accuse Thomasin, and the father asks her on her knees to profess her faith. Dost thou love the word of God? Yes. Love you the Bible? Yes. Love you prayer? Yes. And then he just takes a pause. I have not raised a witch. This is ridiculous. You
Yep.
know, let's go back and pray for your brother. We are all children of sin, but I have
Yeah.
not raised a witch, you know? And then the twins, they can't remember their prayers, and then they start going into convulsions.
Yeah, like they seized on the ground, and I was like, "What the heck is going on right now?"
Yeah.
And I was like, there was a part of me that was like, are they trolling right now? Like, are they lying? Like, I didn't know what was happening. Because like you encounter the witch and bad things happen, and like I didn't know why she allowed Caleb to come home. I was like, wait, did he escape? Did she let him home? I was very taken by that. This whole monologue by the actor Harvey playing Caleb, incredible monologue. Like this kid was probably what 10 years old at the time, did this incredible monologue, and then immediately followed by his death. And you're just like, what's happening? And then the twins are like, no, Thomas is a witch. She told us. And I remember going, Thomas, and see, this is why you shouldn't have joked about this. Because now really bad things are happening. And you got the twins that are like, oh, it's her. It's her. And then, as you mentioned, like they're all doing the prayer, and she's yelling at the twins too, because they're like, oh, we forget, we can't, oh, it's not, we don't remember. And she's like, say the prayer, say the prayer. And she's snapping off because she's like, no, like you will not convince them that I am this witch, say the prayer. And then they just fall over and convulse. And like mom is like having none of it. She's like, no, this is evil. This some witchcraft stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and it's really intense. Like, the kid is fighting for his life, and you guys are fighting over if your daughter's a witch or not.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
let's have some priorities, people. So, I'm trying to find it here. I couldn't. Oop, let me see here. I think this is it here. So, Caleb's convulsing. He vomits the apple.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, he delivers this passionate monologue
Oh yeah.
um, before he goes.
Oh
So,
yeah.
cast a light of countenance upon me. Spread over me the lap of thy love. Wash me in the ever loving fountains of thy blood. Holy thine I am, my Lord, my sweet Lord Jesus, my Lord, my love. Kiss me with the kisses of thy mouth. How lovely art thou! Thy embrace, my Lord, my Lord, my love, my soul's salvation. Take me to thy lap.
Yeah.
Um, and the way he does it,
Dude, he
it's
kills it. Dude, this
yeah,
kid, it's one take, by the way. Like it's one continuous shot. So like there's no cuts in it. It's just him giving this amazing monologue. And then he dies. And I remember thinking in the movie, like within the context of the movie, I was like, did it work? Like in the context of the movie, was he saved? Because again, like things are not going well. And then he just comes to and just says this prayer, and then that's it. It's over, and then he's just gone. And I'm like, oh, did he save himself? Is that what happened? Is that what the movie's telling us? I don't know.
right, right. So, but then that's it. He's
Yeah,
gone now.
that's it. He's gone. He's
Yeah,
dead.
he's gone. And you're wondering, is he praying? Is he actually seeing God before he
Yeah,
goes?
like again,
What
like
is happening here?
you don't like you don't know. You don't know if he's actually seeing something. He's hallucinating. You don't like the movie doesn't tell you. So you're kind of just sitting there wondering, like, oh, like, is this just part of his death? Is he hallucinating? Does he see something? Is he actually having this moment? I don't know.
Right. Alrighty. So the twins accuse Thomasin of practicing witchcraft.
Mhm.
But she, in turn, accuses the two of them for their supposed conversations with Black Phillip
Oh, yeah.
and confronts their father on his intentions to send her away.
Yep.
Angered by his children's behavior, William locks them all up in the goat house for the night.
Yeah.
Is he doing this due to his convictions of his faith, or is he himself now losing his mind because he is now have a second child that has
Yeah.
died?
Yep.
It's pretty maniacal.
Yeah. It's pretty scary because like it's not until she calls him out on like the hypocrisy of certain things where he's still accusing her and she goes, "Oh yeah, really? Well, I've heard you. I've heard what mother and you talk about and it wanted to sell me off to another family to do this and how you lied and how you sold this and how you took Caleb to the woods and everything, the hypocrisy." And he just loses it. He's like, "Nope, that's it." And then next thing you know, yep, putting them all in there, boarding it up, leaving them in there, and you're like, "Oh," and it's just them and it's like, "Oh God, like this is horrible. This is horrible."
Yeah. So, in the middle of the night, the twins and Thomasin awake to find the witch appearing as a naked old woman, once again nude,
Mm-mm.
and drinking the blood of a nanny goat. She turns to them and laughs, and then attacks the twins off screen as Thomasin watches in terror. Simultaneously, in the house, Katherine has a hallucinatory vision in which Caleb and Samuel have returned. She takes Samuel and nurses him, but in reality, she has exposed her breast to a raven, which proceeds to peck away at her body.
Yeah.
And once again, so right after we see the witch, it's a jump scare, jumps for the kids.
Yeah.
Then we see the raven pecking at Katherine, and then Eggers does his cut again. A lot,
Unsettling.
a
Just
lot happening, a lot
yep.
happening at the same time.
Just really, really unsettling. And it's just like it's an image you don't expect to see. And when you see it, you're just like, nope, I don't like that.
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly. Alrighty, so we're moving towards the climax here, slowly but surely. We're gonna give a little shout out to our boy Black Phillip here.
Dude, this scary looking mofo.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was like,
And it's so funny because you would see the movie and the kids would just be doing something, and then this evil looking goat is just
yeah.
hanging out in the corner.
He just sitting around.
He's not doing anything, you know? So at dawn, William finds the goat stable destroyed.
Yeah.
The goats eviscerated, all of them. The twins missing, and so now they're gone. And
Mhm.
unconscious Thomasin with bloodied hands. As she stirs, Black Phillip gores and kills William.
Yup.
And unhinged Katherine blames Thomasin for everything that has happened and tries to strangle her, forcing Thomasin to tearfully kill her own mother in self-defense.
Yup.
Um, so a lot happens in this scene.
Oh yeah.
So overnight, so now we've had Samuel taken, Caleb taken, but then fallen ill and returned, but then he dies. Now the twins are gone.
Mhm.
Black Phillip comes and gores William to death.
Yep.
Catherine's just losing her mind at this point. The whole family's getting killed or
Yeah.
disappeared one by one. So she's convinced that Thomasin is a witch
Yep,
at this
100%. At this
point.
point, she's like, "It's you. It absolutely is you." And
Yeah.
she, like you said, she tries to strangle her to death, and she forces Thomas's hand because Thomasin, is darn near being choked out. Like it's coming, and she just like, nope. She just defends herself, but she ends up killing her own mother, which is just horrific to think about.
Yeah. And it's sad because once again, we just have this parallel of this very devout young lady, the
Mhm.
very beginning with this very passionate prayer that just wants the best for herself, for her family, and wants um, uh, to please the Lord,
Yeah.
because that's what they want to do. But one by one, this family just gets torn apart, and now she's alone because she had to kill her own mom to save her own
Yeah.
life. So we're just inching towards this ending here, and got our final screen share here. Look at that lighting.
All natural lighting too, man. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, they use a lot of candles for this stuff.
It's
And I was
good.
like, yep, looks good.
So now alone, Thomasin enters the goat house and urges Black Phillip to speak to her.
Yeah, I was like,
And
oh no.
then the goat responds.
Yeah, brother, I did not expect this the first time I watched it. Listen, when they were like they talked to the goat, I'm like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
they do, but it's not gonna be like that. And then like, no, genuinely, she talks to the goat and it talks back. It just
Right.
and I remember going, you don't see it. It's all on her. The camera's on her and her reaction, and you just hear it speak to her. And I was like, oh crap.
Yeah. The goat responds in a human voice and offers her the life she desires. He says, "Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?"
Deliciously. And I was like,
What?
dude, what is happening?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it is so bizarre. And then
Right.
and then it almost turns into a man. Like, you just see
Yeah.
you see like this man
A
in black
lot's
boots.
happening.
Yeah, like this man in black boots walking in the shadows, and you're like, oh god,
Yeah.
this is not
By
good. This is
by,
not good.
by the way, you heard people gasp when Black Phillip started talking in the
Oh,
theater.
dude, I can't
People
imagine
were
what that must have been like
gasping
in
when he
theater.
started
Yeah.
talking.
Because again,
So
like I don't think anyone's expecting
no,
that.
no.
Like, it's like, okay, the witch is gonna show up and say something, but it's like, no. The goat just like, oh, do you want to live deliciously? I'm like, excuse me?
Right.
Like, oh no.
So when she accepts, he materializes into a handsome black-clad man, tells her to remove her clothes, and guides her to sign her name in a book. So, I
Yep.
just this shot here, this was disturbing.
Very.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Is this in her mind? What is happening here? And then the voice that they chose for Black Phillip,
Oh
not
yeah.
really disturbing.
Like, it was like there's no way to explain what it's like unless you've heard it,
Right.
because it's not just a whisper. I can't do it, but there is a cadence and an enunciation to the vocabulary that's so off-putting that it's like nobody talks like that. And it
Right.
just, yeah, like it like the voice itself does seem like its whole purpose is somewhat of a seduction, like something that would
Yeah, there you
entice
go.
you. Like, it entices you, and like, yeah, it immediately stands out.
Accompanied by Black Phillip in his goat form, so she's new to this point. A
Mhm.
naked Thomasin enters the forest where she finds a coven of naked witches holding a witch's sabbath around a bonfire. The witches begin to levitate. This is the wow moment of the movie.
Yep.
Thomasin joins them, laughing hysterically as she ascends above the trees. So let's break this down here because this is what a moment.
Mhm.
We get our answer. This isn't just one witch, but a whole coven. We
Yeah,
find
dude.
out it's a coven. That made my skin crawl when I saw that the first time
Yeah.
because they're
And I'm
they're
like,
chant
oh,
they're chanting around the
yeah.
fire and like, oh, that's
Yep.
what was happening. Um, with no other choice, Thomasin becomes a witch, the very thing she denies the
Yeah.
entire movie because so I don't know the origin of it, but witches being nude, it's a stylistic choice that we've seen before. I don't
Mhm.
recall the origin of it, but we've seen it many times before.
Yeah.
Supernatural, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I find there's a parallel here that Thomasin, she's no longer wearing clothes, but she's been stripped of everything at this point.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
Her whole family is gone. Her faith is gone. She doesn't know
Gone.
what to do anymore. You know what? Oh well, let me
Yeah.
do this, And she signs her life away essentially. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Oh yeah.
It's a disturbing moment to end the movie. So the first time I saw this, I didn't hear a gasp at this moment. People were just like in shock of what they were seeing
Yeah.
because the witches were all chanting and they were doing their thing, and then they started levitating, and you were like, "Uh-oh,"
Yeah. Like what? Like, yeah.
And then to make it worse, quote unquote worse, Thomasin starts levitating and then starts laughing maniacally.
Laughing, dude, like fully embracing and feeling
Right,
something. And like you said, I thought it was great that you brought up the idea of being stripped away.
right,
And this entire movie, the entire family is suffering, but Thomasin is being like she's being deconstructed from the very beginning of this movie to the end of this movie, even from her own family, like the way her mother talks about her, the way her
right,
siblings talk about her, the carrying that weight of Samuel, like she's constantly being torn down the entire film until there's absolutely nothing left. And Black Phillip has done everything in his power, along with the witches, to just destroy this girl's life,
right.
and therefore making it so she believes that this is it. Like this is what I have. And the first time I saw it, it was one of those moments where I can recall kind of sitting like a jaw drop moment, just like I can't believe this is the ending. Like
Oh
this
yeah.
is this is the ending. Like you don't know what to expect. And I give Robert Eggers that. I didn't know what to expect from the movie. I didn't know where it was going, and that's great. I did not expect that at all. I don't know if maybe she was gonna find a way out of the woods, find a new family, whatever. Turn away faith in general. We don't know. So at the end, the idea of like not only disregarding her faith and just completely stripping down and getting rid of that, but to join this
Right.
was horrifying, because now you see her in a completely different light. The one thing that she, fought against so hard at the end of the movie, she's just embracing. Again, her flying above the trees, just laughing maniacally. It's just like, no. And then it
And
just it just
and the
ends.
music swelled when
Yeah,
they
dude. It's
started
just,
flying too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Oh," and I'm
Exactly.
like, nope. And I'm like, I
Um,
don't like it.
yeah, I remember having a conversation with one of my friends. I said that was kind of disturbing. That that
Disturbing is the word.
that ending was disturbing. Like it was like a dreadful movie, but the ending was it was scary. You know, it was
Yeah.
scary the way
Yeah.
that it ended. So we're going to transition here. We've given our initial thoughts when we first saw the movie. So
Mhm.
I kept wondering if the witch was real or not.
Okay.
And I was wondering, is the family getting sick? Is this what's happening?
Ooh, okay, okay.
Like, all right, did a wolf really come?
Yeah.
And is everyone sick? Is this like a mental
Mhm.
illness? Like, what's happening here? Is the children maybe maybe the twins ran away because they were so scared,
Mhm.
and back and forth with Thomason actually being a witch because
Yeah.
throughout the movie there was almost like a who done it. Is
Yes.
Thomason the witch? Is William the witch?
Yes.
Like who is the actual witch? Did you pick up on that too?
Yeah, and the big key point for me, and I mentioned it earlier, was when she was joking with her sister Mercy, and she's like, "I am the witch," and there was a part of me that was going, "What if she is?
Yeah,
Like, what if she is, and this is part of her game?" And we could have had that ending where like the whole movie, she's like, I'm not," and as the movie ends, she just kind of, "I am."
right.
I've always been this, and that would have been a shocking ending as well. But instead, they went more of the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the dramatic ending of like, no, she wasn't, but now she will become one,
Right.
and that's unfortunate. But yeah, like throughout that movie, it's kind of like, oh, like, are we to believe that any like at one point I thought the twins were it. At one point I thought the twins were involved somehow, because they said
Right.
Black Phillip talks to us. Black Phillip talks to us. So I'm like, oh, is he using the children to manipulate and to do things?
Well,
And I don't know.
we've seen that we've seen that before though in other horror
Mhm.
movies where knowingly or not you invite the dark forces in by doing
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
Like you talk about your Ouija boards, you talk about the Necronomicon,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and Evil Dead, they're like you invite this evil in whether you want it to happen or not.
Mhm.
And were they doing it by talking
Yeah.
to Black Phillip,
Like
we don't know.
you have Thomasin, who openly admits to having impure thoughts and thinking of
Right,
sinning. So right off the bat, she's doing something she's not supposed to be doing, playing on the Sabbath, thinking about things. You have Caleb that is almost looking at his sister with lust, which
right.
is a big sin. You have the father who is stealing items from the wife to sell for this and that. So there is a lot of quote unquote sinning happen within the family.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, are they welcoming this? Is this something like, is that the movie? Is the movie telling us that they're welcoming this by doing these things. And so again, I'm like, is that what the movie's doing? Is that what it's telling us? Were they doomed from the start? You know,
Well, they
the
were
moment
banished, remember?
they were, yeah, they're banished, and it's like, oh, like they're
Right.
banished for their beliefs, for being Puritan, you know. And I'm like, oh, like, and then they can't grow crops, like they can't grow anything, they can't catch anything to eat. And I'm like, is that because they just can't, or is that because they're being punished? Like, is this their version of hell? Like, what's going on? So the movie, Robert plays with that a lot throughout the movie, and he doesn't really give you answers 100%, which is interesting. And that's why I think the end works as well as it does, because now you're getting validation. Like, now you're like, oh no, Black Phillip is real. He is a dark spirit. He is the Dark Lord. He is this. And they are speaking with the devil. And then the witches in the woods. Again, finding out there's more than one. Didn't expect that. Because the whole movie, you just see the one old lady. And like, oh no, there's a coven of witches here. And they all look relatively young. And you're like, oh man, are these other women that were also in a situation as Thomasin? Have they been here for many years? And what's the deal? And they all fly, and it's just like, oh, like, okay, like this is terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, I was not expecting this.
So let's take a look at the box office here. It was made for $4 million.
Nice.
And it ended up making 40.9 million. So
Woo! Robert Eggers, baby.
Huge box office success. So A24, you know, just one of the early ones, and then eventually just, you know, would go on to continue being successful with it, just that low budget, but making a good box office return. Let's talk about the award season. People, out of everybody, people said that Anya Taylor-Joy was snubbed for this movie.
Oh, dude,
she could have been nominated for several awards. And when Oscar season came around, they were like, nah, that young lady was very special in this movie. This would go on to be a trope for Robert Eggers movies, you know, really good performances in these period piece horror movies that he ends up doing. Let's take a look at some trivia here. So if you notice, the spelling of the title of The Witch is with 2 V's. Just really unique. I've never seen that before. So it's
people were going to like the Vvitch. They were like, is it the Vvitch? Because
yeah.
Like, it's the witch, man. It's the witch. It's the witch. So
it's how the word was written in the story's period, because the letter W was not yet in common use at the time. So that's why that was like that. During the witch hunts of colonial America, it was widely believed that a witch could not say the entire Lord's Prayer. This is why the family is so upset when Mercy and Jonas aren't able to finish the prayer. So there's, to your point, there's a question being brought up.
I'm telling you, when the twins couldn't do it, when this was like, oh, we can't do it, I'm like, oh no, they are witched. I was like, right, it's the twins. Right.
Yeah, and that word witched throughout the movie, right?
They're witched. I was like, yeah.
The characters frequently accuse each other of signing the book, and the book is offered to Katherine and Thomasin to sign by Black Phillip. In Puritan theology, a person recorded a covenant with the devil by signing or making their mark in the devil's book with pen and ink or with blood. Only with such signing, according to the beliefs of the time, did a person actually become a witch and gain demonic powers, such as appearing in spectral form to do harm to one another. So that book was significant, you know, and Thomasin actually signs it, sealing her fate towards the end. So, alrighty, so here we go. A little bit of explanation of the film. I like this one. The director gives their take on it. So the director, Robert Eggers, designed the film to be interpreted in 2 ways. Literally, as if the family were besieged by real witches and satanic forces, or figuratively, as if the family had succumbed to a shared psychosis due to their strange circumstances and beliefs. There are small hints throughout the film that could serve as responsible causes behind the events, beyond the obvious supernatural, such as contaminated food causing hallucinations, repressed sexual desires, and extreme isolation. The director stated it is up to the viewer to decide which interpretation is correct. There you go.
Because listen, look, if you put a group of individuals with someone's belief system and faith as strict as this family's was, and you put them in a scenario where they are secluded from everyone and everything, and bad things happen, they will often do that. Like, oh, that is a result of this, our sin, or this is bringing this forward, and whatnot, and witch. And again, yes, a wolf could have taken Samuel, but because of their belief system, was like, oh, it's a witch, the kid's imagination talking to the goat. Like, it's like, oh, that's why, like, for a while, you're kind of like, oh, is this happening? And you brought up the idea of like, hey, are they all sick? Are they experiencing something?
Right.
And we've seen many people argue about certain psychosis episodes and just in life in general. And it's like, is this what's happening here? And I don't know how we do that following the end of this movie. Like, we see what we see, and it's like, okay, do we see this because this is actually happening, or is this because Thomasin is completely off the rails at this point? So I like that I like that Robert was open. I'm like, hey man, there's two ways you can look at this movie, and I do appreciate that.
Last little trivia here. It looks like by making this movie, Eggers goes on to make this his trademark. So we have The Witch in 2016, The Lighthouse in 2019, The Northman in 2022, and then Nosferatu in 2024. They're all period pieces that are based on folklore, mythology, and fantasy, which reflect through their atmospheres, setting, and environments. So
Yeah.
we've seen it before, period pieces. We've seen horror period pieces before, of course. But in this modern horror era, to set himself apart from everybody else, Eggers is saying, no, I'm doing period pieces. This is going to be my thing.
I love
Really
it.
cool.
And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was years ago that I've heard him say he doesn't have an interest in doing any modern horror films because like the period pieces are so intriguing. And we've had conversations about this in general where I say, hey man, like I really miss period pieces and horror because it allows you to really play in a time frame and a time period and not worry about certain things. Like how many times have we seen a movie that's in modern times like, oh, cell phone, cars not turning on, you think so. Like he's like, no, we're gonna do period pieces, and it allows him to play with, like I mentioned it earlier, just even lighting. Because this was a period piece, he wanted all the light of this movie to be either natural light, candle, or fireplace. And it adds to the atmosphere of the movie. And that's something you get with a period piece. So I am really happy, like you mentioned, that this is kind of his thing, where he's kind of been like, hey, I'm going to do period pieces. His next film, Werewolf, will be a period piece. Like I am so excited about that. And I'm like, yeah, with Aaron Taylor Johnson coming back, I'm like, yes, let's go. More period pieces. And I like that that's his thing. I like that if Robert Eggers has a horror movie coming out, we can expect a fun period piece we can play. It allows for great artistry with costume design, set pieces, everything. And I'm like, yep, it's just an easier way to get drawn into a world too. Like you can physically see all of this and the clothing, the atmosphere, the setting, and just go, yeah, like we're in it. And I love that he's doing that.
I feel like after The Witch came out, we started getting more horror movies that were more artsy.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
we've gotten it before, but after The Witch, it changed things,
Yeah.
And not even a few years later, Ari Aster comes out with a knockout of a movie in Hereditary. And with a solid, strong lead performance that could have got an Oscar nomination,
Yep.
And like all these other directors are like, oh, we got something here, guys.
Yeah.
We can make like legit films,
Yes.
or horror movies,
Yes. And kudos to Robert Eggers, because it's this movie, like you mentioned, like there's not a ton of jump scares. It's not the prototype of what makes a horror movie. He's like, no, I can do a slow burn. I could treat my audience smart because they are smart, and we're gonna build up. And then, like you said, horror movies, like we can be artsy, or we can have really strong scripts, introduce horror elements, and explore certain things in this world. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, when you talked about like horror is just on a massive kick right now, and I think like it all stems from somewhere. It's a domino effect, right? Like it's not to say we didn't have like really great horror films in the past, and we definitely did, but like this movie did so well at the box office with the budget of a $4 million, you know what I mean, and pulling in this much money. It's like, whoa, we can make a horror movie that would almost be considered a risk if you were to make it many, many, many years ago, and be like, well, you got slashers and zombies and this, and he's doing a witch movie, but like there's barely any witches in it. There's no jump scares, and it's a slow burn, and it's really like just like you're just building and building. Like, really? But it worked. It
Right.
absolutely worked.
I had to look it up. Hereditary was under A24 as well. So,
See? Yeah.
this studio just doing just tons of independent films, but they find
Mhm.
this niche of
Yeah.
artistic horror,
Yeah.
and it was just really cool stuff. Let's show some love to the cast here. We have
Yes.
Anya Taylor-Joy as Thomasin, just a
Mhm.
breakout role for her. Little trivia: Anya Taylor-Joy was the first audition tape that Robert Eggers saw, and
He
no
knew.
matter everyone else he saw, he said, "Nope, she's the one."
That's the one.
Uh,
Yep.
we have seasoned actor Ralph Ineson as William. We have Kate Dickey as Catherine, the mom. We have Harvey Scrimshaw as Caleb. Ellie Granger as Mercy, the young twin. Lucas Dawson as Jonas, the other young twin. We have Bathsheba Garnett as the witch. Sarah Stevens as the young witch, and Wahab Chaudhry as Black Phillip, both the voice and human form. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
our little cast here. Um, well acted movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like clearly Anya Taylor-Joy amazing as the lead, wonderful as the lead
Yeah.
actually, but just solid from everybody. You gotta you gotta work hard if you're speaking like the King James Bible,
Oh, yeah, dude.
to make a horror movie like this compelling. Um, any thoughts on the cast here, Ricardo?
Yeah, dude, Anya Taylor-Joy, this was, I think, the first time that I had really kinda like, "Oh, like, who is this?" You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, Anya Taylor-Joy uh, Ralph Ineson has such a great presence on screen. Like, it's, a very strong presence. So, like, him
Yeah.
as William was fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy is great. Uh, Caleb's monologue, man, like,
Yeah, that was
for a kid that young
oh, yeah.
to knock that out of the park as well as he did, and like the rest of the movie, he's great too. But this particular scene, I was like, man, like I feel like that's the type of scene that could make an adult nervous. Like, all right, I got to nail this. And he went in there and just gave like he just put all into it, man. And it was so genuine. But there's not a weak person in the cast. Like, there's not a weak person. It's a very small cast, not a weak person in the cast. Everybody's great. But this is where I was like, Anya Taylor Joy, gotta watch her. Like, that was the moment where I was like, okay, she's gonna be big, and she is. Again, Ralph has this great presence on screen, and then your boy Harvey Scrimshaw, who plays Caleb, just that monologue, man. Like, oh my god, so good. Again, 10-year-old kid just crushing it.
Yeah, absolutely, and happy for Anya Taylor-Joy. She would just go on to
Yeah,
just have such success, just more and more movies, and she's a star now,
yeah, dude,
just
she's great.
yeah, she's excellent. So, we're gonna start winding things down, with our closing thoughts here. We touched on it a little bit before. Let's touch on it again. Like, Robert Eggers is just like, yeah, I'm gonna do period piece horror to
Mhm.
the point where is he kind of like I don't know, is can anybody else do it now? Now that he's
Yeah,
doing it,
it's his baby now,
put it
man.
out
Like,
there.
yeah,
We
it's his
haven't
baby.
we haven't touched on the other movies yet, but it's like, man, what a strong first movie too.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, this was the first time I had seen anything from Robert Eggers, and I've liked everything he's made. There isn't one that I disliked. Like, I've liked every movie that he's made. And like you said, it kind of became he didn't invent the period piece horror movie. Like, he didn't invent it,
Right.
but like it became his thing, and I appreciate that. And I don't want to call it a gimmick, because a gimmick kind of feels very throwaway. Where it's like, oh, it's a gimmick, you know what I mean? Like, it's a MCU formula or whatever. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just I like that he's so appreciative of period pieces, and like that's where he shows his most love for his stories and the stories that he wants to tell, whether it be folklore or whether it be based more in a grounded realism. But just the idea that he has such a love for period pieces, and again, as someone who loves period pieces and wants to see them more, I know I always got there's always I have this Robert, I have this director that I know is always going to provide me with that horror period piece that I may be looking for. So when he's done his next film and, you know, he's worrying about his next film in the filmography, I'm like, hey, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know we're probably going to get another awesome period piece. And I don't know. It's escapism. I don't know. Like there's some about period pieces where, because, you know, we're not from that time. So I like the idea of diving into that because it is a rarity. We don't see it as often anymore. So I love the horror genre and I love period pieces. So the fact that we get it with him is pretty amazing. And can other people do it? Sure, but it's kind of like it's kind of his thing now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of his.
And I want to give a shout out to Anya Taylor-Joy. She's kind of become a scream queen now,
Oh yeah.
since this movie. So we have The Witch, we have
Mhm.
one of my favorites, Split,
Yeah.
and then the sequel, Glass, and then I want to say Last Night in Soho. She
The
comes back.
menu.
Yep, yep, The Menu.
The
She
menu.
she reunites with Eggers and the Northmen. You know,
Oh yeah.
so a bit of a scream queen here. I I didn't see The Gorge, but I think that's a horror movie too. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. It's definitely got horror elements too. I
Color
did see that.
Elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay then. But, you know, not only do we got a new star, but we got a new scream queen. So shout out to
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy. It's good
Yep.
stuff. So,
She's got my money. If she's in it, I'm gonna watch it.
alrighty. Folks, that was the Panel Bros official breakdown for The Witch. We are doing the filmography of Robert Eggers right now. So next up is The Lighthouse. Please stay
Yes.
tuned for that. That's the next episode. So this is episode 96. We have 3 more left before we hit our 100th episode. So just stay tuned, folks. We already know what we're doing for the next 3. You know, we have The Lighthouse, we have The Northman, and our 99th episode is going to be Nosferatu, and then our 100th is going to be our special one. So please
Yeah.
just stay tuned for that. It's going to be good stuff. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube at the Pana Bros, we'd appreciate it. If you could let us know in the comments below how you felt about The Witch, please let us know in the comments below. Your interactions help our reach. Thank you so much for that. For Ricardo Segura, this is Anderson Marchak saying thank you for coming to the panel.